Hi guys, it's Steph here with Dog Jogs. As you can notice, Nikki, my wife and co-partner of Dog Jogs, is not able to meet with the lovely guest that we have today. Just a short intro, even though this fabulous woman barely even really needs an intro. It's Teann from Mutt Love Photography. I can't believe it's your 10th year in business this year. Not only are you a super, super talented person, you're also a super amazing person. So we're very, very fortunate to have you as one of our longest running friends in the pet industry as well. So without further ado, Teann, welcome to our interview here. We definitely appreciate the time that you're taking with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is truly an honor to be asked to do this. Of course, I'm nervous, but yeah, it's been such a pleasure knowing you guys and seeing your journey as well. And yeah, super incredible to have a chat with you about what the past 10 years have been.
Yeah, which is crazy. It doesn't feel like 10 years. That's
I
insane.
know it does. I still remember when we met at the coffee shop there. I still remember, yeah. It does not seem like, I don't know, was that 10 years ago? That couldn't have been.
It almost
Closely after. Yeah.
It's probably like
8.
less than, yeah, I was just gonna say just under 10, but yeah, I still remember it like it was yesterday.
I know, it doesn't seem like that long ago.
So we'll basically go through a bunch of questions to get to know you, Teann. And then at the end, we'll just make sure that everybody knows how to contact you if they don't already. All right. You can tell us a little bit about yourself and your family.
That's just always the hardest question. I have a hard time talking about myself. I think it's like the biggest thing that I have a hard time with. But I'll start with talking about my family because I know that best. I live with my husband, Ricky, and our 2 daughters. Our daughter Isla is 6, turning 7 in a couple months, and Mila just turned 3. So they keep me very busy. And then we have our 3 pets. Juno, the golden doodle, she's going to be 11 this year. And Mauser the cat, she's 8, I think now. She's a rescue, so we're not 100% sure. And Chocolate the hamster, which I have not posted any information about because she tends to only like to come out at night, of course, and she likes to keep and do her own thing. So that's my family. And yeah, a little bit about me, which I always like to last. I think it's being a mother. You just, focus on everybody else first. I love the outdoors. I love hiking. I could probably spend every weekend in the mountains. And this past year, I haven't had a chance to go very often. Yeah, pretty much anything outdoors with animals. I ride horses as well. I lease a horse and I ride twice a week, and that has been a lifelong passion for me. It was actually my first passion before I got into photography and other things. So that's a huge part of my life. So animals, family, outdoors is me.
That definitely sounds like, yeah, you have a lot to keep you busy.
Yeah, too much. Yeah.
What are your favorite activities to do with your family and your pets?
We do a lot. We live right off of the Blackmont Creek ravines, so we do a lot of I call it nature exploring. So we, like in the winter, we would go down there and we would just play, just go out on the creek, the frozen creek, and just find cool little areas to play in. My eldest is in forest school, so that's a huge part of what she enjoys to do. And then Juno comes along on our adventures with us. She likes to roll in the snow, and we used to go further, go to the dog park and that sort of thing. But with kids, I find it a little bit more difficult, and I don't like them running around in the dog park. So we go where we're close here.
Oh yeah, and you guys live so close to it. It would almost be shame if you didn't experience that.
Yeah, and there's so much. We found so many cool little areas. There's this one, it's the smallest patch of trees, but there's a little trail through it, and you almost feel like you're transported somewhere else, even though it's like the smallest little space. And the little imaginations are wild. And yeah, and then Juno, you know, just runs around and
Everyone's
barks
super
and-
happy and
yeah.
so diving into a little bit about your business, how did your business become, or how did you get started with Mutt Love?
So photography has I've always loved photography. I received my first camera when I was 10. It was just a little point and shoot. And I was always the one of my friends that had the camera, and I was always taking pictures. So it was always a huge part of, I just was always driven to see things in a different way and to capture them. So I went through nursing school, and even once I finished and I got my degree, I was actually looking at NAEP to go to the photographic technology program after I'd already finished 5 years of university. And at the time I was like, oh, this is silly. Like, I need to work and, you know, continue on with my nursing career. And so photography was always there for me. And then time went on and my friends started having babies. And so that naturally led into me photographing families and children. So I did that for a few years, all the while like wanting to photograph furry faces. Like I just knew that there was something that I was driven, like I was just drawn to photograph. So we didn't have a dog at the time, so I would borrow my friends' dogs. I would go to their houses and be like, can I photograph your dog? And at that time, this was like 12 years ago, you know, I'm sure people thought it was weird, but it wasn't, photography wasn't really a thing. And yeah, I thought, you know, at the time I thought it was kind of strange, but I started, thank goodness for the internet, started looking online and found that there is a community of people just like me. So that kind of gave me the confidence to go ahead with pursuing photography as a specialty. I already knew the passion was there. It was just putting in the pieces to make it a business. So yeah.
Absolutely. And like, I can definitely speak on many people's behalfs that we are so fortunate that you chose to go ahead with that, because you are insanely talented. We'll obviously post some of your work on here as well, if people haven't seen your work, but yeah, we're very grateful that you've followed through with that. That's for sure. How did you come up with the name for your business?
So I'll make the short story. I did a little blog post about it quite a few years ago now, but it's kind of a combo name. I knew I wanted something that portrayed something with feeling and love and that sort of thing. I knew that from a core that I wanted that to be a part of it. And I just, growing up, I had a horse and his name was Mr. Strut, but he was like a crossbreed, kind of like, you know, crossbreed dog. You don't know what they are. He was a breed of horse that we really didn't know what he was. And so I often called him my mutt. And he was like a best friend to me. He was a huge part of my life. And I lost him suddenly when I was 23. He shattered his pastern, which is kind of near the hoof. And it was devastating, like absolutely devastating for me. So I don't know, I felt like he guided me to where I am in a lot of ways, through his loss and, you know, our experiences together. Mm-hmm. And then at the time we had Juno, who was also a crossbreed. So I was kind of, I don't know, just kind of wanting to combine the two together. And that's kind of how it came about. And I researched the name Mutt because I thought it maybe had a negative connotation to it. And I like Googled and looked because I was like, is it bad? Is it a bad word? And I didn't find anything, you know, I couldn't find it. It just meant crossbreed. And so I was like, okay, well, that's fine. So,
I love that you were like socially aware even 10 years ago.
Well, no, yeah, I'm like super cautious with like, I don't want it to come across like something like a bad, you know, like in a bad way, because that was never my intention. So yeah, you gotta look into these things. Yeah.
With that being said, is this your full-time gig now?
It is, yeah. As of September of 2020, last year, I actually let go of my 15-year nursing career, which was a huge decision. Took many months for me to decide. I was really on the fence, but I'm also a stay-at-home mom. And with COVID and everything, I decided to stay home and homeschool. Well, online school. It's not true homeschooling, but online school. My daughter, who's in grade 1. And I couldn't do it all. Like, it was just too much. And yeah, so I made the decision to let it go and pursue my passion full time. So
that's, yeah, I can't even imagine how, big of a decision that was. But I'm sure you felt like, it was just kind of something that was like meant to be at that time.
Yeah. It was a bit of a relief. Once a decision was made, it was a bit of a relief. I mean, there are aspects of, my nursing career that I do miss, but a lot has changed since COVID has come. So it wouldn't be the same as what it was pre-COVID. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some of your philosophies and inspirations for your business?
I believe that every animal is unique and special, and they hold an important part in our life. Their lives are not nearly long enough to be able to enjoy them. And they play a huge role in every day, just being there to bring us joy, and being there through difficult times, and being there to see our children grow. My mom's gonna cry because it makes me sad. Jim's turning 11. But I believe that they're meant to be captured in their true selves, and that's a huge part of what I do. I'm always looking to authentically capture their soul, and capturing them in beautiful photographs is something I think is really important, because you get to see every little detail, and their fur and everything that oftentimes our phone cameras just can't capture in the same way. And in terms of my business and what I do, I truly believe in capturing things and being able to display them in print. There's such a huge difference in the quality that we can provide, and the enjoyment that we can have over something that's printed, hanging on our wall or on our coffee table, that we just don't get the same feeling when we look at a screen. And all too often, we just have multiple photos that just get put on our hard drives, and we never get to enjoy them. So print is a huge part of what I do, and it's really exciting to be able to provide something tangible for clients. So that's.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you, for as many people know, we have lost Coda recently, and we are so fortunate that you were able to capture what you have for us. And we will forever have those.
I'm so happy we did that when we did. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm gonna cry.
I'm like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad we did that when we did, because he was, he was doing well, and he was happy, and
No, and we are, good. There's no words to tell you like how appreciative we are of that. But sorry, didn't mean to take this turn.
Already on the turn. When I was saying their lives are short, so
yeah. They're happy tears. They're happy tears.
I know. So that's why I do what I do. And I always say to people, like, don't wait until you get a diagnosis. And I find so often that it's left to the last moment when they're older, which is totally fine, but it's really hard. It's really hard to deal with it when they're already at that point.
Yeah, and I'm sure even for you, it's a different energy that you're capturing too.
Yes, yeah, because when they're not feeling well, they're going to act a little different. Like, for sure, they're going to be maybe. Do you know what's funny though? I will say one thing, is that oftentimes, if a dog has had a diagnosis, usually it's cancer, unfortunately, they will actually get a little pep in their step. for the photo shoot. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's because it's something different.
Yeah.
I come with like a crazy amount of treats
Yeah.
and like, you know, like I don't know if it's because maybe it's that, maybe something different, something new for them. But it always stresses me out a little bit because I never want to overdo. Like I want to capture all I can, but then I never want to overdo. So it does place like a bit of extra stress on me because I'm wanting to do all this, but
Yeah.
I also don't want to overdo what we're doing, and it's hard to find that fine line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like, yeah, and like, you know what those photos mean, like extra.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
No, for sure.
I make sure that they're backed up the minute they come back. Horrible.
Can you tell us a bit about your process and like what people can expect it to look like?
Yeah, so when someone contacts me, usually it's through either through Facebook, but usually it comes through my website, and they'll receive a little inquiry guide giving a little bit of information about kind of how the process works. And from there, we set up a consultation, like an initial consultation call. And I like to do this just because it gives me a chance to hear a little bit more about their pet and a little bit more about what they're looking for, so that we can choose the right season to photograph in, the right, like we don't choose location, but the right setting, whether they want like in studio or outdoors. Because I do now have a separate studio space. I have not made a post about this. It's kind of been, something that I need to do, but I have a studio space as of August last year. So I have that available as well. And then from there, I send a little bit more information, and as well as some booking dates, and a client will select their date. And we'll also select a time for planning consultations. So we meet in person with their dog or cat. I would usually go to their home. COVID's a little wonky with that right now. And so they'll come into the studio with their dog, and it gives their dog a chance to meet me, as well as for the client to meet me as well. And we go over the options that are available for wall art and albums. And then we go over location and go over the details for the actual session.
Awesome.
And it's just a nice kind of way for us to get to know each other a little bit more, and for me to select a location that's best for them. And then from there, we do the session. And then afterwards, we meet for a big reveal of their images, and we select their favorites to either put into beautiful wall art or into albums. And then from there, we have it printed and delivered.
Awesome.
That's the whole process.
No, that's awesome. I guess you kind of touched on this already, but how do you come up or plan your sessions? Like, do you plan it to kind of like, do you already know what kind of shots you're going to take?
Yes and no. Like every dog is so different. I would say dog because that's a bulk of what I work with. I do photograph cats, but I have more dog clients than horses or cats. I work with all, but I'll just say dogs. So I will have ideas in mind, but it really depends on what the pet is giving us that day. I always like to capture some posed, candid, in action. Like that's kind of like the main thing that I'm looking for. And then whatever the dog is interested in within that, we kind of, what they like throwing the ball, then we use the ball. If they like to play tug, then we would do tug. And then a lot of times there's things that just happen in between that I'm just capturing. A lot of sessions, I'll say this because I Photoshop leashes out, a lot of people think that the dogs are off leash and super well trained, but that's actually not the case. Almost all sessions are on leash, even the action images. So we use a long lead and remove that in post-processing in Photoshop. And a lot of the posed images as well, we'll have them on leash. It just helps us to keep them in one area, because dogs like to sniff and that sort of thing. So it just keeps their focus for that moment when we need those images.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is your favorite tool in your craft?
Liver treats. Lots of liver treats. I don't know. I think if I didn't have like, they just love to, they'll be motivated by treats or toys. It's either one or the other. Some dogs, usually labs, are very ball motivated, so we can, use toys and stuff or a ball. But they just will work for treats. They love it. And there's different ways I can use it to use treats. I can, kind of throw them, they can find them and then get their attention. We can use it to place them in an area. I never like to force anything. I don't like to be like forcing their bum in a certain area. I'd rather lead them into where they need to go. It's just much more natural in their movement and how they're going to stand. Yeah, I mean, other than my camera gear, of course, I couldn't operate without that. I would say treats are probably the biggest tool, I guess. I don't know if that's considered a tool, but
very useful.
Yes, yeah.
What is your favorite part of working with clients?
My favorite part is a few things. I love getting to know people. I love getting to know what they love about their pet. I think it's a huge part of being able to capture what I do. And I also love at the end when I get to provide them with their beautiful, tangible artwork. And it's just, there's something about giving something to somebody that's beautifully crafted and that they get to enjoy for many, many, many years to come. That's a huge part of what I enjoy, and
I bet.
And I think what clients enjoy too. Yeah.
Yeah. And how can people find you, Teann? What are your social media handles?
It's all at Mutt Love Photography. So MUTT Love Photography on Instagram. And Facebook, does it use the same? Just Mutt Love Photography. And then website is www.muttlovephotography.com. MUTT Love.
And lastly, how has COVID affected your business?
This year has been a weird year for sure. And I'm not going to say it affected my business directly, but it's just that I took on other roles. So I took on the role of having my daughter home, doing online schooling. And I think having to wear that extra hat has affected, because I have to change how I'm working. So yeah, it's sort of an indirect way that it's sort of affected like my ability to work as much as I would like to or need to. So it's a lot of juggling, but yeah.
Oh yeah, like you said, it's not direct, but it does affect you directly as well. Like you can't work in the capacity that you normally could.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Nick and I don't have kids, but I don't even know how you do what you do with kids and a dog.
Well, thank goodness Juno. Well, no, Juno's actually become more demanding now as she's getting older. I was going to say she's like a roommate we never see, but no, when she wants something, she'll make it. No. No, it's funny though, because she's so subtle about it. She's not like, well, with my husband, sometimes she's like in your face, but she just at the door and she'll be like, oh, like this. And she does this thing. It's very subtle, very, very quiet.
She's like, hey, I'm here. I need
to like take me out. Yeah, she's funny. But yeah, it's been an adjustment, and it's been a lot of making. I feel like I've been constantly making decisions, making a decision and having to make a different decision for life and for business. Like it's been a lot of a lot of am I making the right decision? And yeah, mostly for the kids and life and stuff, but yeah.
No, of course. And I feel like this year has been just challenging. Obviously normal life is pretty challenging, but this year has been like exponentially more challenging. But
in some good ways too, though. Like it's definitely put me out of my comfort zone in many ways, many ways. But and as hard as it's been good in others, because we've made decisions that we wouldn't have made otherwise, and tried things that we wouldn't have done otherwise, and that sort of thing. So
Absolutely. No,
yeah,
I completely agree with you. There is like a little bit of silver lining,
yeah.
with it as well. But no, that comes to the end of our time, Teann. I appreciate your time so much. We look forward to always working with you in the future.
Thank
But
you. I love working with you guys. So anytime.
perfect. And if you guys have another entrepreneur that you would like to see featured, please let us know. We'll leave our credentials here so you can send us your suggestions. Have a good day.